only guy they ever had.
Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike, Max, Patrick Royce back in the fold. Trent Tucker and the one and only Sid Hartman. How are you, sir?
How are you?
Good. Hey, Timberwolves made some noise this week. Let's start with them.
Well, it's amazing, but he's been working on that thing all year. And when he made the Love deal, he didn't want Young. He wanted Garnett, and Garnett wouldn't go for it. And he could have made a deal with Brooklyn, but Garnett said no. And then finally, 30 minutes before he'd given up, 30 minutes before the trading deadline, he made the deal. But Garnett's plans always have been to come back here and live here in the summertime and live in California in the wintertime. That's what his wife wanted. And I think it's a fantastic move. I think he still can play. I think he'll do a great job helping some of these young kids, and it's certainly going to help the box office. They're going to turn people away Wednesday night.
So, okay, so bottom line here, Trent, is they got Garnett, but they got a guy that averages 6 points a game. Which one did you get here? Which one's going to be more prevalent?
Well, you know, and some of the things that Sid just talked about, you know, his experience that he's going to bring back to the table, his mentorship is going to help some of these young players understand what it takes to be a professional. And we all know that they're not getting the Kevin Garnett that left 7 years ago, you know, but what he brings to the table from experience, a guy who's won a championship, a guy who has been here before. And also, when you look at the landscape of professional athletes, you know, many guys don't have a chance to lead the game the right way. Kevin Garnett, now he has a chance to lead the game the right way.
Do you fear, Patrick, that he might leave the game the wrong way, meaning he gets a contract extension, which doesn't serve anybody well?
Well, they're going to, they already said he's got a contract for next year, right?
No, for this year.
For this year.
But then I thought there was an option.
Oh, he has no contract for the
Well, they're going to let him, they're going to give him an extension, I think, don't you?
I believe so.
I got to believe that was already discussed, right?
Yeah.
Flip said at this point there's been no talk on the extension.
Okay.
Well, he probably wants to play one more year. What's he going to do if he's not playing? His head will explode. You know?
Yeah.
Well, he can be a free agent after this year.
Right.
Well, he's not coming back here to leave.
No, I mean, because he waived the no-trade deal.
I think Glenn Taylor's addicted to everybody like him, though. He's, you know, he brings back Flip, and now he had his falling out with Kevin, and then they kind of patched things up. But I think he wants to have a chance to embrace him. You know, it's good. Everybody's comparing it to the Torrey Hunter thing. I don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way at all.
I think Torrey Hunter the Twins brought in Torrey Hunter because they didn't have any corner outfielders.
Yeah, and they expect production from him.
Yeah, and I think Kevin is coming in to be the emotional leader of a, you know, of a bunch of young guys who don't know how to play. So
Trent, what that being said, is it overrated, underrated, a guy that, you know, when he says things, is everybody going to listen, or will they only listen for a short while? What happens?
They're going to listen for sure because he has the credibility. You know, he's been in the league for a very long time, but he's been very successful. We all know that he's a Hall of Fame type player, so what he says is going to bring some true value to those young players in the locker room.
I think he and Rubio will be like that.
I think so, too.
I think they got the same kind of fire in a different way.
But I think Rubio's also smart enough he seems like a pretty sharp kid that he knows that he should embrace Kevin and not try to overstep him.
And one other difference is basketball is a team game and baseball isn't. So, you know, I mean, basketball is, you can be taught things of how to play the game in basketball that Kevin could help you that way. Torrey can't make Aaron Hicks hit a fastball.
He still can rebound. And
well, they need a power forward, obviously.
He still can do some things pretty good, and I just think he gives the whole franchise an emotional lift. There's no doubt he wants Taylor. Right now, Taylor won't sell the club because the prices are going up, up, and he's not going to sell the team. But one day, Garnett will own a piece of the club with Flip. You watch and see.
Well, that could be the big play here. Flip may be trying to set him up to be his partner.
You know, the trouble is, when those guys might have been plotting to buy the club for $300 million, it's now 600. Now 600.
There's only 3 guys in the country that can afford these things.
Kevin's made $300 million. seemed like a lot of money.
Yep.
You can't buy an NBA team.
Can't buy an NBA team. Trent, what do you think about that part of the play?
Well, you know, having him a part of the organization going would be nice for this franchise as well. You know, like I mentioned before, when you can bring back a guy who started here and he wants to come back. You know, he waived his no trade deal to come back and play him in the. But that's a valuable thing to have. You know,
I watched Patrick Ewing, your old teammate, when he was with Charlotte at the end. People probably forget he played with Charlotte at the end of his career. And it was not fun to watch because you felt for him. His hand-eye was, and big guys suffer more. You can't hide them if they're going to drop the ball or somebody can embarrass them more. Do you worry about that, Lo?
No, you hate to see guys who stay around too long when they are a shell of themselves. But I look at this situation with Kevin Garnett is that, he has a chance now, to leave the game, the right way. He has a chance to leave the game with the franchise that he started with. And how many guys can say that?
There's no doubt in my mind his wife played a big part in this thing. He met her here. He was from here. And she wants to settle. I know some close friends of there. She wanted to finish her life here. And so that's a big part of it. He's still got a house on Lake Minnetonka.
He sold one, kept one, I said.
Yeah, he can afford to. He probably could have afforded to live here, whether he's
He's got a place on Malibu Beach. How do you feel about what you saw from Wiggins and Levine and that crew now?
Pardon me?
How do you like this team right now?
I feel very good about this team. I think that they weren't going to sign Young regardless. They weren't going to give him $10 million. Somebody would give him $10 million.
Yeah.
It's funny. I want to ask Trent what he thought of Young as a player. I talked to some basketball people who thought he was very good and was a superstar. Some guys thought he was an average player. What's your thought?
Well, if you're asking him to be the franchise player of your team, he doesn't have that type of talent. But if he goes to a good team, all of a sudden now he becomes a valuable piece. He could help a good team get over the hump and make a very long run in playoff time.
I don't think he's a power forward, though, is his problem, and that's where they were trying to play him here, right? Isn't he a little skinny for power forward?
Well, and today, a lot of power forwards on the outside. They don't have the big burly guys anymore. They play with their back to the basket. Right? So, but I think if he finds, the right team to fit in with, a team that's a playoff type team, he could help them tremendously.
How big is Wiggins' upside?
Oh, tremendous. I really like him as a player. He has grown throughout the season. He has a chance to be a very good player for a very long time.
You say something?
Mr. Saunders is very high on Payne, and so is Sam Izzo. They think he can be a great player, so we'll find out if that deal worked out.
Well, that's who Garnett's going to mentor now, Payne.
Huh?
That's who Garnett's going to be in charge of.
I want to see what he can do with Anthony Bennett. We'll see if he's a miracle worker.
I think that one's going to be around long. Take a break, come back, stay with us.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King, for the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology, life is worth hearing.
Quality is the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to do things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled, and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria, family owned, American made.
You're watching CW-23.
Find your next Subaru at Luther White Bear Subaru. Whoop! Yikes! Drive the all-new 2015 all-wheel drive Impreza for only $159 a month, or buy for $18,195. The 2015 Forester is just $235 a month, or buy for $22,195. Both with financing as low as 1.9%. I'm Ken Mullen, and thanks for watching. Luther White Bear Subaru, Highway 61, just north of 694 in White Bear Lake.
Attention furniture shoppers. American Furniture Mart must liquidate inventory now to make room
Truckloads of brand new furniture arriving daily. For 18 years, the Twin Cities' lowest prices on quality furniture are at American Furniture Mart. Sofa sets from $4.99, sectionals $5.99, bedroom sets $3.99, brand new mattresses starting at $69, and bunk beds just $1.99. Visco memory foam queen mattresses starting at $299. No phony sales. We keep our overhead low so you pay for nothing but great furniture.
Keep your home safe and secure with quick set lock sets from Menards. Right now, they're all on sale. This Balboa passage lever and a satin nickel finish is $17.99. Or get this Tustin passage lever and a bronze finish, only $22.99. Add under cabinet lighting to your kitchen from American Fluorescent. This 18-inch under cabinet light with convenience outlet and T8 bulb is $9.99. This 18-inch fluorescent light plugs in for easy installation, just $14.99.
Save big money at Menards.
See why more people are coming to Audi than ever before at Audi Minneapolis. Experience the legendary performance and handling of an A4 2.0 T Quattro. Lease yours for only $379 a month. Plus, Audi Minneapolis will make your first month's payment. Or try out the luxury and power of an A6. Lease for just $499 a month. The Summer of Audi event at Audi Minneapolis on 394 at General Mills Boulevard and at AudiMinneapolis.com.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs, fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second to none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
There it is, what Patrick Lacey missed while he was away down there. J.D. Hoyt's, the Buddy Bowl. Stop on by the chops, the steaks, the seafood. Say hi to Pat and the gang at J.D. Hoyt's.
I think we ought to get a brand down there in Fort Myers.
That'd be just right. Everybody, they've already got brand recognition.
We got those two ballparks right there.
Yeah, they don't even have to
Doesn't some person from here have a branch down there?
Dairy Queen.
I think it does.
How about the Gopher basketball team? What happened here?
Well, I don't know what their future is. They got 3 scholarships available. They better go out and get some junior college players who might be available who can play because they lose 5.
That's what Matthew and Carlos Morris are. That's what's available.
They're going to win 1 game the rest of the way. They're going to lose to Wisconsin here. They're going to lose to Michigan State there.
ISO again, yeah.
And they may beat Penn State here. They're not going to even get a NIT.
Oh, okay. We're the defending champs. We won more NIT games. We won more NIT games than any school in history. We got to get to the NIT.
But here's the problem, Patrick. This is not a rebuilding year. They're playing juniors and seniors for the most part. They thought they'd go to the NCAA this year.
Okay, we used to blame Tubby when seniors got worse. Why do seniors get worse? If it wasn't Tubby's fault. Eliason can't get off the bench.
Non-factor.
A couple of years ago, he would give you 15, 20 minutes. He was okay.
And about the time Andre Hollins was going this way,
yeah, but that's a shooter, right? Now Tucker never had a stop in his 4 years at Minnesota, but Hollins is when he's making shots, he's good. When he's not, he's not.
2 yesterday.
1 for 8, right?
That guy in Wisconsin's got to be one of the best evaluators of recruits of any coach in the country. He goes out and gets guys who don't have the greatest reputation in the world.
Athletically speaking.
And he molds them into his style. He did get the kid from Grand Rapids who was setting the world on fire.
Who could be under Kaminsky. Ilakanen.
Kaminsky wasn't that high recruited.
No, I said the kid they got from Grand Rapids could be another Kaminsky. That's what they said.
Hey, Trent, when you were playing, was Wisconsin still a dog?
They weren't good at all.
Yeah, they used to be.
They had some talent, though.
Right?
But
they had some talent.
Yeah, they had
until
some
Dick
talent.
Bennett and then
they had Wesley
Matthews
and Clyde Gaines.
What's he done?
And Larry Petty.
Well, that was who was the coach? Bill
Cofield.
Bill Cofield.
Yeah.
Minnesota,
They had some talent. They just put things together.
Minnesota is 17-1 against Wisconsin in basketball.
1-17.
1-17.
17-1.
What do you mean? They've lost 17 out of 18. They've lost 17 out of 18. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Lost 17 out of 18. The one they won last year here.
Well, I've said Bull Ryan, you talk about the most remarkable things ever happened in the Big Ten. Bull Ryan came in and won the Big Ten title his first 3 years as head coach, Trent.
He gets the right players for his system, and he goes out and he identifies the type of players that he's going to go out and recruit, and they play a great brand of basketball.
They play a little faster than the talent they have.
I mean, you talk about Kaminsky. I mean, at that 4 or 5 position, he's a nightmare matchup for anyone.
What's he going to be in the NBA?
Well, he has to find the right system. He's not going to overwhelm anyone with his pure physical talent, but if you plug him in on the right team, they can use his skill set. He could be a good player at the next level.
He's going to be in the NBA, though. Decker and him will both play.
Oh, Decker. Decker's a very good.
Jackson will get a shot from somebody.
He's 6'9". Decker's 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9". He's mobile. He's very athletic. He has a nice inside-outside game. So he could get a look from someone.
Sid, I say no JUCOs though. Enough of the JUCOs. Let's get some freshmen and build the thing up. Come on, let's have a program here instead of patching it together.
They want to draw some people. They're raising the ticket prices. If they want it, they're raising the whatever they call the
preferred seating, licensed seating deal.
Seating, they better win games because they're going to have a hard time in the future selling tickets.
I talked to a ticket holder in the Twins camp, and I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he's going to be the manager, who's a season ticket holder who was complaining about the non-conference schedule. He wanted 100 games.
Jones put on a show again the other night. What's his NBA future?
It's bright, very bright. But I'm like Patrick was talking there. I think that he may see one more year at Duke.
Well,
what would he get out of it?
Let me say this. Knight thinks one of the reasons they don't win here is because of the lousy non-conference schedule. They say you got to play tough teams early, and you develop your team as you play tough teams. You can't play nobodies and expect your team to improve. And they play the worst non-conference schedule in the country.
Here's the problem. They play decent teams in November on neutral courts. And then you play the North. Well, they don't play anybody for 3.5 weeks before the Big Ten starts. That, to me, is the problem.
Right.
You got to have somebody in there. It's that the schedule overall in November, you play some guys, but in December, before the Big Ten starts, you don't play anybody.
Steve Lavin left St. John's. Do you think Rick Pitino would try to get Richard that job?
Right, I don't know.
Just talking. Back after this.
Ever wonder why hear but not understand? Scientists at Cambridge University discovered the answer. Inside your cochlea, there are thousands of tiny hearing hair cells. Poor hearing occurs when regions of these hair cells die. Amplifying a dead region with hearing aids makes you hear worse, not better. The result of this study is hearing clarity breakthrough. Using standard test equipment, dead regions of your cochlea are identified. Then, a new type of frequency-shaping hearing aid is programmed to bypass the dead regions. Only your usable hearing hair cells receive amplification. Brilliant. A local study is underway. 100 citizens with hearing problems are needed to receive this testing and then wear the tiny device for 10 days, recording your results. Call now to see if you qualify. Volunteers may keep the product at a special discount if they desire. Don't miss this opportunity. Call now.
Thanks for watching CW-23.
In a world full of compromise, the Audi A3 takes a different path. Get uncompromised design, the style and presence of Audi in a lighter, smaller form. Uncompromised performance, a light quick turbocharged engine and race-bred S-tronic transmission. Uncompromised luxury with standard leather seating and panoramic sunroof. Lease your A3 for only $299 a month. Plus, during the Summer of Audi event, Audi Minneapolis will make your first payment. Stay uncompromised. Audi Minneapolis.
Right time to Big Ten season.
Audi Minneapolis, stop on by 394 and Boulevard. Say hi to the gang there and drive out in an A8 or a Q7. You will not regret it, and it's for all seasons. Welcome back to the Sports Show. We're just talking during the break quickly. You played against Dean Smith when he was at North Carolina at one time. What did Dean Smith, how high up the food chain does he go as a coach, and might it be diminished some if they find out there was a major cheating scandal?
Well, that could happen, but when you look at what he was able to accomplish at North Carolina as a basketball coach, he's right there at the top with some of the big names.
Pretty good tribute
yesterday.
Pretty good tribute yesterday. They came out and ran the four corners to start the game down there. So
this guy was one of the nicest people you ever could meet. I must have got a half a dozen clippings from him a night. He knew that Knight and I were good friends, and we spent some time together, a couple of
So Knight and Smith were okay?
And he would send me that stuff. And Mike Krzyzewski and Williams got together at that little ceremony they had for him and decided to do the thing. I don't know if you saw what they did.
Arm in arm and all that?
Arm in arm, and this guy was class, boy.
I tell you,
he was a heck of a guy.
I tell you, I covered him in three, four Final Fours, and that was about the third one before I knew he smoked. Man, he could cup a cigarette better than any North Carolina boy, man.
He said he was a chain smoker, though, huh?
Yeah, you'd be doing an interview with him, and he'd be smoking and never knew it. About one day I saw him walking away, and I said, now there's a guy who can cup a cigarette. Good North Carolina fella, knew how to cup a cigarette.
He broke the color line in North Carolina, and that was pretty darn tough to do there when they brought that Phil Ford in.
Michael Jordan's your buddy. He obviously enjoyed playing for him.
For sure. I mean, when you talk to some of the guys who play for him, you know, they have high regards for Coach Smith. And but Patrick, I'm going to tell you two other guys who are chain smokers: Phil Jackson and Pat Riley.
Yes, that's right. Phil Jackson, too?
Oh, no doubt about it.
Where would they go once they closed the building, once they said you couldn't do it in the building?
You know, they would find a little special place somewhere, you know.
Where the ventilation was good?
Yeah. Phil Jackson and Pat Riley, they both are chain smokers.
Are they still, or did they give it up, or don't you know?
I have no idea now. But
Phil used to do it during halftime or during
after the games.
Oh, the best used to be the hockey players. Dennis Savard at the Blackhawks between periods.
That was the
Let's
thing,
go
right?
out there and see you go into the game. And
Isn't that something
the
to
game,
do?
they'd be hitting them hard.
Like that. What about the Wild? Will they make the playoffs?
Well, they had Chuck Fletcher on the radio today, and he thinks it's going to be tough, but you got to give them credit. Everybody wanted them to fire the coach. I thought for sure the owner would fire the coach. And they get this goaltender, although they're going to have trouble re-signing this goaltender because he's a free agent.
But not the point. Right now, you just want to ride him.
Yeah.
Huh?
Right now, you just want to ride him, see what you get from him.
Yeah.
Well, plus you get rid of Baxter.
They're playing right now. They got a chance. I think they make the playoffs.
I was out there this morning with that goaltender. He's a pretty cool guy. Yeah. He's got a good sense of humor, laughs at himself, well, even talks on game day when he's in the nets.
Well, you give him Backstrom's number, he'll sign him. Money, he'll sign.
I would too. You're set for life in a good place.
$3 million a year, he'll sign you.
That's not a bad deal, huh?
No.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. What were
they'll
you
make
saying?
the playoffs.
35 years ago, miracle on ice.
Well, Herbie was a master psychologist. He loses 12-3, I think, the score the night before to the Russians.
Not the night before, about a week before.
A week
10
before
days.
To the Russians, and he knew what he was doing. If he only would use his seatbelt, he'd still be around. As I departed from the cemetery, he could get things done that nobody could do. And then his coffin was still on top. I says, don't leave yet. He's not ready to go down.
Are you amazed though, Patrick, when you look at how his legacy lived so powerful beyond
because of that, you know why? It's amazing what can happen when you got a hot goal.
Yeah.
That's what I've always said.
That can change the way a lot of
all those people think that this was a victory over communism. No, Jim Craig had a better day than Trichet. That was it.
Did you know Herbie at all when you were there?
Knew him very well. You know, he and I were together at the university.
Yeah.
You know, but also when I got drafted to the New York Knicks, he was coaching the New York Rangers.
Sure. So you had the Minnesota connection.
Yeah. So you know,
did you see him at the Garden some days
sure,
when you were going up for practice?
Oh, yeah. I got to know him very, very well. You know, he and I would spend many of days just kind of talking. And you know, Jim Dutcher was a wonderful coach for me to play for, but also when you're around other great coaches, you can pick up some things that can help as a player.
And I think back then there were many fewer athletes around campus.
We were all close together.
You had about 2 facilities.
Right.
They were on the other. You had the locker rooms were on the same level there.
We shared the same training room also.
In my book, the 3 best coaches of all time, Brooks in hockey, Martin in baseball, and Musselman in basketball.
Martin in baseball.
And none of them could get along with it.
You're leaving both Grant and Holtz and Knight, all 3 of them off of that.
Tom Kelly, he's not on the list.
Yeah. Holtz and Knight.
And Bud Grant. I mean, you're leaving those guys off the list.
I'm including.
Oh, okay. They are included.
Let me finish.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
You're watching CW-23.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Beacon Bank, Bob Weiss and his gang are ready to make your dreams come true. Stop by, responsive, reliable, reassuring, you bet. Beacon Bank for all your business needs. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Patrick Royce, gone the last few weeks, as you noticed, in Florida, and you were able to watch the Twins
informal workouts, not real ones. But yeah, they're, you know what, the spring training's like a week late here, so a lot of guys came early. I think their body clocks. But what was impressive was Hunter was there, well, 2 weeks ago, basically Tuesday. He got there on Tuesday 10, 12 days ago, and he's, you know, hanging out, being the character that he's always been. And Aaron Hicks is never more than that far away from him, but I got news for Aaron Hicks. Standing next to a guy ain't going to do it for you. You got to, when they throw a 3-1 fastball, you got to get it.
What do you think Torrey does for him, Trent?
Some of the same things that Garnett's going to bring to the table. You know, he's a winner. He's a guy who's been here before. You know, he's going to bring valuable leadership to that line once again. So I like the move also.
Well, I think because of Molitor, they're going to be much better. That's what
Well, you like Gardenhire, though, didn't you?
Huh?
You like Gardenhire, didn't you?
I like Gardenhire, but I think it was time for a change. And apparently Gardenhire is very upset. He don't want anything to do with the organization.
He was out there the last week talking to guys, and he's, you know, he's not going to work for them, but he's not that bitter. He was out there last week talking to guys.
Let's go down to Sit on Sid as we close out the show today, as we do now. Sydney, give us some final thoughts. We kind of saved this like the old Andy Rudy segment. Go ahead.
Final thoughts? It could be interesting. Wednesday's going to be a historic thing in sports in Minneapolis when Garnett comes to that, comes on the floor. That place might the roof might cave in.
There you go. Sid Hartman on something.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality Sport Services. Ticket King. The best price on tickets anywhere. Try Ticket King. And Sound Point Audiology. Life is worth hearing.